All right, hey everyone, Mark here, Mark P Markets. For those of you that are new to the stream, thank you for joining me for another Bitcoin weekly analysis and price forecast. Now, I'm sorry I'm running behind today. I had a technical problem that I had to solve, and it was interesting. Anyway, all right, so let's get this moving here so I can answer your questions and we can take a look at these markets. All right, so we're going to cover Bitcoin first. All right, hold on, let me just adjust my microphone, making sure you guys can hear me okay too. Let me know if you can't hear me, but I see my sound is going through okay, so I should be good. All right, so we're going to cover Bitcoin. All right, I'm going to look at some altcoins like Ethereum. I'm going to take a look at the stock market real quick, take a look at gold, and then I'm going to answer your questions, okay? So you can start sharing the symbols or the markets you'd like to see in the chat as soon as possible, and I will get to the chat as I go along here. So again, thank you for joining me. All right, so let's get started. So this is for educational purposes only. For investment advice, please consult a licensed investment advisor. All right, let's jump over to the chart so I can show you a nice little chart here. Okay, hold on. One of these days I can get the chart up. Okay, maybe if I knew how to use my software. Okay, hold on. Where's my chart? There we go. All right, so again, today is Monday, as you know, and Monday means what? Monday means it's news day, right? We got to check the calendar, the economic calendar, to see what's going on this week. So I'm going to do that real quick. All right, so here we go. There, now you can see me all right. Okay, cool. Hold on, let me just adjust this microphone again. I don't like it to get in the way over here. All right, cool. So let's first things first, let me go over the economic calendar. Now, TradingView has its own economic calendar, as you know. I just read through a different one because I just like to get to the most important events really quickly. So, but I would recommend using the TradingView economic calendar if you don't normally use it. All right, so let's take a look. Now, 9:30 p.m., that is, hold on a second here. Let me make sure I have the right date. Yeah, all right, so that's tonight. China Consumer Price Index, I wouldn't worry too much about that. That's 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay, tomorrow, which is Tuesday, we have, for the British pound, we have the Bank of England's Governor Bailey's speech. I mean, these Forex pairs have been doing some unusual things, but it's because of the dollar. So I wouldn't worry too much about this guy's speech. We have gross domestic product for the pound on the 12th, which is Wednesday. All right, that's, they don't put the times on here anymore, where they changed the calendar on me. All right, yeah, they looks like they changed the calendar. I usually have the times on these things. Where are my times? Man, they changed stuff on me. All right, anyway, so let me just run through this real quick again. So that's on the 12th. Also, let me see, we have a Bank of England's Governor Bailey speech is also on the 12th. Now, we have for the U.S., the time for these usually, right? Like it's not showing the time right now, which I think is very unusual. But for the U.S., usually at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, we have Consumer Price Index, excluding food and energy. I wouldn't make a big deal out of that number. Although inflation is now, the Fed seems to be they're soft talking the inflation. There's inflation. If you look at certain prices like copper, I mean, food prices, it's all over the place, right? So anyway, if any surprises show up in something like that, it could move markets. But again, I wouldn't make a big deal out of it. Okay. On the 13th, we have Bank of Canada, Governor Macklem's speech. Wouldn't worry about that. Again, on the 13th for the pound, we have Governor Bailey's speech. A lot of these banking people are speaking a lot this week, but I don't see, what's his name? I don't see Powell. Okay, so I wouldn't worry too much about these other ones. Now, on the 14th, we have retail sales for the U.S., and that, again, usually not a big number. The 14th is Friday. We also have Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index. Again, I don't see any FOMC meetings. I don't see any Fed chairman testimonies. I don't see any interest rate decisions, and we had NFP on the previous Friday. Those are usually the big market moving events, okay? And so there's really nothing going on this week as far as scheduled economic events, all right? So got that out of the way. Let's get right into Bitcoin here. Again, if you have questions, put them in the chat now. If you're watching on TradingView, again, you know, put your questions on there. I'm simulcasting. All right, so let's say hi to everyone in the chat real quick. Hey, Gabriel, good to see you. X, I see you. Hey, Todd, nice to see you. Isaac, all right, cool. Dan from Romania. All right, cool. So we're going to take a look at your things here. Let me just run through my stuff real quick. So Bitcoin first, right? Now, Bitcoin, if you read my TradingView article yesterday, which I shared pretty early, I talked about this, and it was pretty much a repeat of the week before, all right? I keep talking about this area right here. We're right in the middle of this range, and I don't like this type of price action. I don't like the location at all, right? So that's why I've been talking about, you know, potential scenarios as far as the next few days or going into the week. I want to see a higher low develop, which we sort of had at this 53K area. But as you can see, we get these swift pullbacks, and it's followed by a swift recovery, right? Very hard to trade those, unless you're day trading. That's great for day trading, not for swing trading though, okay? Because the risk is too high. By the time the candle closes, buying this thing at 57 to 58K, it's tricky because now look, you get caught in this and now you're taking pain, right? This thing is minus 2,200 points right now off of that, what, 59.5 it went as high, and now look at this thing at 56 even. I mean, that's what I mean. It's random here. It's just not worth the risk. So I want to see 52K over the next few days, followed by a reversal, some kind of reversal pattern, or I want to see 50K to 48K. That's it. I summarized that also in my TradingView article. That's what I want to see. If the market cannot deliver those numbers to me, then I take no risk. It's very simple. All right. Again, I'm trading a swing trade strategy. It's not a day trade strategy. So it requires a lot of patience. High probability opportunities are rare. All right. We only see like the way it's been over the recent couple of months. If we see 1 or 2 per week, that's a lot. Okay. Usually we're seeing about maybe 1 per week or maybe 1 or 2 per month. That's how it's been, you know. And look, the market environment changes. Is this environment good for day trading? Sure, there's a lot of movement, and you know, there's a lot of opportunities on the day trade time frame. I'm not here to talk about day trading, but you know, it's one of the hardest ways to go about it. But if you have a solid trading plan and you're an experienced day trader, there's plenty of opportunity here, okay? But as far as the swing trade goes, we have no choice but to wait. Now, that's Bitcoin, so there's nothing going on there, right, basically. Now, let's jump over to Ethereum real quick, and here's where things are interesting, right? So Ethereum is just on this run, and it's just forgetting about everything else, and it's just running. So what do you do with this? Now, what concerns me about this thing is at 42.13 right now, and it just keeps pushing high after high after high, like it will never stop. I'm sure if you go on YouTube and you look around, there's probably all kinds of videos all over the place talking about how you're going to be rich if you buy Ethereum tomorrow, right? Well, if you're an owner from a much lower price, this is great. If you know, we had a swing trade that we had sent out a couple of maybe about 2 weeks ago, whatever, at that breakout. And wow, what a nice trade. But the thing is, you cannot touch this thing now. This is a place to sell, right? Whenever I see these things go vertical, this is herd mentality on steroids. The risk is very high. It looks nice. Of course it looks nice, right? Because conventional wisdom tells us, wow, it looks strong. It should continue, right? That's conventional wisdom. But the thing is, we cannot see what's going on inside of these candles. We cannot see where the real sell orders are and how large the accounts are that are looking to sell at some point. We cannot see the accumulation of those orders, right? The broker can, the exchange can, we cannot. So the thing is, we have to look at this from a perspective of risk. And when I look at risk, the first question I ask myself is, well, where's the first support? If I buy this right now, where do I get out if I'm wrong? Well, you're looking at 3,200, okay? That's 1,000 points, basically. It's this area right here between 32 and 35, because there was a little inflection point there. There was some price action there. That's your first minor support. That's not even a major support. So if I buy this thing right now, I have to basically, if it pulls back to 3,500, I have to hope it holds there while I'm taking 700 points of pain. Not worthwhile. How much higher is this thing going to go? Is it going to run to 8,000? Is it going to run to 5,000? There's no way to know. We can sit there and talk about fundamentals and all this great news and all this blah, 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 but I know better, okay? So the thing is, I don't like to take risks at highs like this. This is when the herd is piling in. When you get people feeling that these things are safe and these things are solid investments, that's a red flag, okay? That's typically a red flag. Again, it's not going to help me pinpoint the top. I'm not trying to pinpoint the top. All I can do is assess the risk. And if I'm not comfortable with that risk, I don't take the trade. So there's nothing to do with Ethereum except take profits, okay? Lock in profits, and of course, you let it run until it stops running, right? It's given some attempt at these little sell candles along the way, but as you can see, they don't take hold. Currently, we're getting a bearish looking pin bar, all right? I mean, the open to the close range is still pretty wide, so it doesn't really qualify as a pin bar, but we do have that long tail. The candle is still open, all right? Now, if this thing closes looking like this and we take out the low, that would be a new sell signal. So just something to keep in mind there. So the summary on Ethereum is, yes, it's strong, but the risk is too high for any swing trades. So nothing to do here, but watch it and see when it pulls back. Should we watch it for a pullback in the future for a potential swing trade opportunity? Sure. There's plenty of coins that are in that situation. All right, so that's Ethereum. Let me jump over to the stock market real quick, because I just want to address that, and then of course, I'm gonna get to I want to get to your questions and spend most of my time on your questions here. Now look at the NASDAQ. Okay, I talked about this earlier today when I still had internet and I got into the chat room. Here's the thing. This candle earlier today was a little inside bar looking candle. Okay, that's what it looked like earlier today. Now look at this thing. This thing is minus 343 points. Who saw this coming? Anyone? Well, we have our short position on in the SQQQ. It's actually a play. Look at this thing. SQQQ is at 1205. That's nice. I mean, we're basically long calls in this thing, looking to capitalize on the weak NASDAQ. I've had this position, as many of you know, for a good month now, and it's been very difficult to hold on to. I called that trade way back here on this candle right here. Oh, hold on. Let me get this on here properly. This candle, see this red candle back here? You see that red candle? That's when I sent it out. So what was that, like 3 weeks ago? What was the date of that candle? April 12, April 13? April 13, yeah. Okay, that was when I called the idea, and now it's starting to work, okay, now, because it requires a big move. I'm looking for 13,200 to trade on this NASDAQ. The NASDAQ has been relatively weak. People keep asking about, buying certain NASDAQ stocks because a lot of them are at their supports. Well, if the NASDAQ is relatively weak and it starts doing stuff like this, okay, those stocks that are sitting at supports are going to break the supports. So they're not worth taking. Remember, when you're timing a swing trade in a stock, you have to look at its parent index and use that to help you with the timing. So the NASDAQ has been weak, and here we go. So we close like this, right? We're closing weak, and we're closing below this higher low that developed, earlier, what was this, Thursday or Friday? Okay, and all that nonsense news, which I keep warning people, stop listening to the news. It's nonsense. Here we go. So 13,400 was the low on Thursday. All right, we're at 370 right now. So I don't know. Party looks like it's over. Anyway, so good if you're short. Let's take a look at the spot, the S&P 500. Look, here we go. Okay, so we've been warning people, and the warning has been, if the S&P pulls back, right, the relatively weak NASDAQ is going to feel the pain. Well, here we go. S&P is now taking out the Friday's bullish candle, which on that NFP report, now here's a great example of where conventional wisdom will steer you the wrong way. If anyone can just recall, on Friday, the non-farm payrolls number at 8:30 came out way below expected, right? What they were expecting, way below. The market rallied. The market closed strong on Friday. So you would think conventional wisdom, NFP is really bad, but the market likes it. I suspect that it had something to do with the fact that, you know, the Fed has no business raising interest rates and why the market rallied, right? That was my guess. Anyway, the point is it's irrational. You cannot use logic to judge such a situation. So now here we go. It gave it all back and we're taking out the low, Friday's low. So that's a sell signal on the S&P, bad for stocks, okay? Another thing that's been holding up the stock market, by the way, are like banking stocks. Look, Goldman Sachs off of these highs, giving it back a bit. And energy stocks, okay? They're starting to pull back today. Interesting. But they were holding the market up. So if the party's over for them, the party's over for everything, at least temporarily. Am I calling for a bear market here? No. I'm just calling for a healthy pullback, which we have not seen in a very long time. 1420 is the support in play right now on the S&P. We're at 1489. That's 50 points or 60 points or whatever on the S&P. That's still nothing. That's still just like, okay, normal pullback. All right, a real heavy pullback, you can see the S&P fooling around the 4,000 level, right? And then, again, I'm not calling for a bear market, just a healthy pullback, a buying opportunity for swing trades or even position trades, right? But we have to wait for those levels. And in order for the market to get to such levels, things are going to probably sound really ugly. So again, stop paying attention to what people say and pay attention to your price locations and how price action behaves around those locations. Because that's all I pay attention to. I have no idea what's going on in the news. I pay zero attention to it because it doesn't help me at all, okay? So the news gives us an illusion of control, by the way, right? It's an illusion. We think that we understand the information they're telling us, and we think that we're smart enough to interpret, oh yeah, it should mean this, it should mean that. So it kind of gives us a false sense of control. Meanwhile, it's completely irrelevant to the actual order flow, which is something we can't see. So you have to first of all think in a more abstract nature. It's hard for me to explain, but the easy way to go about that is just look at levels, look at price action around levels, and compare that to bigger picture trend. Simplify, okay? All right, so now gold, real quick, take a look at gold, and then I'm off to your questions. Look at gold. It's starting to look like an altcoin now. Gold is at 1837. It reached 2 of our swing trade targets. Look at this. You can see the trade up here on the chart, right? We bought this thing at 1720, like, what, 2 months ago? Right, when it was like around, it came off of that 1675 low, right, the double bottom, and we bought, actually that was the buy signal, right, the high of that low was 1715. That was on March 30th, okay, we sent that out, March 30th, okay, we're in May right now, we're like the second week of May, and that thing reached its second target, you know, so we still have one more target to go at 1880. I mean, talk about having a lot of patience. You have to have patience for these things, and gold kind of looked a little tricky along the way, but you know, you just had to give it a chance. Anyway, so gold is doing what it should be doing. In this environment, keep an eye on the dollar index, okay? Look at the dollar index going lower, right? That's a sign of inflation. Even though we get this little hesitation bar over here, it's still maintaining the broader bearish trend, right? And we took out this support here. Strong markets don't take out supports. So this thing is probably going to resume the broader bearish trend, which again is inflationary. So now usually the stock market likes a weak dollar. So there must be some other catalyst out there. And also keep an eye on the bonds. US 10, the 10-year note. This can give you some clues. It's a very slow mover. So the bond prices, right? As bond prices go lower, interest rates go higher or yields go higher. As bond prices go higher, interest rates or yields go lower, right? So that is it's an inverse relationship. So just something to keep an eye on there. Look at this nasty bearish pin bar, okay, on the bonds. This was on Friday or whatever. I guess that was a reaction to NFP. So if the bond prices are going lower, are they implying higher interest rates again? I don't know. I mean, we have to see. This thing needs to break supports and all that kind of stuff. Higher interest rates are not good for anything, right? Higher interest rates will definitely be a bearish catalyst for the stock market or anything that is anti-inflationary. So, you know, higher interest rates mean stronger dollar. So this is a little conflicted here, right? Don't be confused by it. The bonds need to make a significant move to really see that kind of go into effect. just something to keep an eye on. Okay, so enough about me. Let's talk about your questions. And I appreciate everyone's questions here. Again, I'm sorry I'm running behind. I'm usually like preparing to wrap this up right now, and I'm just getting started. All right, so how am I doing with time? 20 minutes. All right, so let's start answering some questions here. I'm going to start here with Dan. All right, Dan from Romania. So, okay, I went over Bitcoin. That was the first thing I went over. Let's see what else we have here. Dodgy Coin. Okay, so question is Dodgy Coin worth investing in? Well, so you use the word investing, right? I would say no. Here's the reason. Investing implies long term. I say no. The reason is, and I don't know if this is 100% true. You may want to do some more research on this. But from what I understood, there's only 12 accounts that control 50% of the supply of coins. Right there, that's bad for an investment because these 12 wallets control your investment. If they decide to sell, your party is over, right? So I don't like 12 wallets controlling any type of investment type of thing. I would stay away from it as an investment for that reason, okay? So as far as, you know, where this thing, look at this thing, okay? It's a garbage coin to begin with. Why anyone likes this coin, you must be believing hype. It's a garbage coin. It has no value. What? Because Elon Musk talks about it. It's a garbage coin. So, you know, we had a swing trade in this, right? Whatever got a little out of that, okay, great. But these things have, a lot of them do not have long-term value, right? I have very little faith in a lot of these altcoins. These are not stocks. These are not companies that report earnings. These are not companies that are regulated by the SEC. Cannabis stocks offer more value than these garbage coins. Cannabis stocks. And cannabis stocks are horrible stocks, okay? And they still offer more than these garbage coins. I would consider a cannabis stock lower risk than Dodgy, okay? Dodgy coin, whatever. Anyway, so pulling back, let's talk about it from a technical point of view before I get all carried away with rants. And you're pulling back into a support here. Old resistance, new support, 44 cents. Now, that's good, okay? Good location for a potential swing trade, but candlesticks are not favorable right now, right? They're not going with you. Large bearish candle, Bitcoin is pulling back, right? So no reason to get into this thing right now. If you're interested in an investment in something like this, you really should wait for extreme prices, okay? An extreme price in this situation would be like the 20-cent area. This area here. Because why? All these people that chased into this thing will be banging it out, maybe getting margined out or whatever at those prices. That's when you want to pick it up as an investment, okay? Or maybe even lower if it can go lower. But right now, step aside and wait for stability. You do have a good location, all right? It's a better location than buying the high, and this is why I don't like to buy highs. But too early to get into this, okay? Stepping in front of a price is really a random act because price may hold here, but it may also just randomly break through. So that's why it's best to usually wait and let stability develop. Okay, so good question there. Let me jump over to the other chat and see what kind of questions I have here. Again, thank you all for your great questions. I see Mohammed, I see T Mash Cake. I'm sorry, I can't see the names here. I apologize if I don't pronounce your name properly, but thank you for joining me. All right, so let me see what kind of questions I have here. So okay, so that's Dodgy Coin. I just answered that one. Do you think it's a B wave of an ABC or zigzag correction? Now, I'm not sure. Are you referring to Bitcoin on that question? That's a good question. I'm just not sure what you're talking about there. Don't you think it's a B wave of an ABC zigzag correction? So just clarify if that's Bitcoin. Okay, so let me jump over to the next question. DWJ. But there have been very healthy pullbacks in the Russell, small caps, mid caps. Yeah, right. So, well, the Russell, let's take a look at the Russell real quick. Okay, IWM. The Russell has been acting relatively weak, right? Or not as strong. Look, while the S&P and the Dow were pushing highs, this thing gave us a head and shoulders, right? This is the Russell 2000. That is relative weakness, which tells me one thing. When the leaders pull back, these things are going to get hammered, right? The relative weakness should take effect, and these things should go lower faster, right? So that's what we're getting from the NASDAQ and the Russell. And they're behaving as they should. The signs were there. I would never, this is why, again, when I see red flags, like, trying to break out, but it's not making new highs while the leaders are making new highs, That's a problem. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to turn tomorrow. These things have been very tricky with those turning points. But when the turn comes, usually when that relationship kicks in, you don't want to be on the wrong side of it. That's why I get very cautious when I see a lot of those conflicting markets, and people get impatient. They get impatient with me because I stop calling trades. I'm very cautious. You know, I don't want to take a lot of risk and this and that. And it takes a couple of weeks sometimes. But, you know, I'd rather have no losses or very limited losses than being overexposed because I'm too hooked on action, right? And I have 20 trades on and now they're all red. Now I have to get out, okay? And now I'm going to make emotional decisions because I see all this red and it's not going away. What happened to all the green, right? So that's a situation. You have to avoid being at the mercy of the market, and that's one form of being at the mercy. Okay, so good question, or that nice observation. Could you expand on the stocks for which their earnings reports? Okay, this is a very good question. Penn Gaming as an example. Okay, made by trade. All right, let's take a look. So PNN, Penn Gaming. Let's see if I can find that. Okay, so Penn. All right, so here's an example of a stock, right? Penn Gaming. And this, obviously, they must have had good earnings. About 2 weeks ago, you know, all the semiconductor stocks came out with their earnings reports. And we also had the FANG stocks came out with their earnings reports. And their earnings reports were very good. They were stellar, okay? And the market just shrugged them off. So again, that's a great example of conventional wisdom where people think, oh, good earnings report. Like, let's see, like Google, for example. Let's take a look at Google, right? Google was one of those stocks that had great earnings. And you can see it had this nice gap situation and blah, 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 right? That was one of them. There were a couple of them. I think Amazon was another one. And look at this hammering on Amazon. Okay, another one where it started out okay, blah, 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 gets hammered. So here's the thing about that. It doesn't matter why. Okay, so let's forget about why. Knowing why won't help you. What will help you is recognizing this relationship, right? So great reports and NASDAQ, right? On these great reports, NASDAQ, this is what the NASDAQ was doing on these great reports right here. See this price action right there? I'm going to make that nice and big so you can see it. That was the week of all the great reports, okay? This Dodgy, this little inside bar, right? Those were great earnings reports from the leaders. So when the leaders come out with stellar reports and the index struggles like that and basically develops the double top, I saw that 2 weeks ago and I was telling people, these things are in trouble, right? That's a red flag because what it means is the large players or the majority of people that were buying, that keeping the market up, they were no longer buying, which means they were likely selling or absorbing anyone that was buying into that conventional logic. Okay, that's typically the order flow scenario. Whether that actually happened or not, I don't know, but that's the theory, and this is what we got. So it was a lack of buying while the market should have been buying. That's what you have to consider. So great earnings reports, no buying, big problem. That's it. And now we see the effects, right? But it took 2 weeks for this thing to get to where it is now. So that's why you can't overreact to things, and it's usually best to let things play out and be patient. Like I said, I took the SQQQ position back here. I was very early on that, but I took that position not because I knew that the earnings were going to behave that way. I went into those earnings reports like, well, let's see what happens. You know, let's see if there are any negative surprises, because I was playing the probability of the location, which I stated at the time when I took that trade, because everyone was optimistic when I put that trade out. I was even told you probably shouldn't take that trade because, you know, you're going to a very optimistic environment. But I don't listen to people. I listen to probabilities. I listen to price action. I listen to the market. Okay, so far that probability is playing out as I was hoping for. Okay, but I could have been wrong. And if the market had broken higher and cleared this resistance, I would have to gotten out and taken another loss. Okay, we had a couple of those shorts with those options trades where we had to get out early for losses because I wasn't going to continue to hold on to something if it's not doing what it should be doing. Anyway. So that's a good question. I hope I answered that adequately for you. Okay, let me jump over to the other chat. Let me see what else I got here. And again, I appreciate everyone's questions. I want to see if I can get to everyone's questions as quickly as possible. So ZEC, okay, and BNB. Okay, so let's take a look at ZEC, USDT. Okay, so look, is this really surprising? Right, the market's starting to pull back, right? Bitcoin. Let's take a look at Bitcoin again real quick, right? So Bitcoin is doing that, right? The leader, and now these follower coins. I was going to call them something else, but these follower coins are starting to follow, right? Which is what they normally do. So maybe we're going back to normal. Maybe the froth is starting to be over now. The party is over, right? The party at some point is going to be over. And this could be the beginning of it. Now, as far as ZEC goes, it was in this failed high territory, okay, in this zone up in here. This was a very risky place to buy it. Now, again, people like to take breakout trades. I try not to discourage them, but what I always say with those is if it turns the wrong way soon after you get into it, take the small loss. So if you bought into that breakout and it's doing this now, take the loss, because this thing, while it is at its support, right, old resistance, new support, the thing is, Bitcoin is turning, right, and Bitcoin still has some ways to go before it starts touching that 50K, and Ethereum hasn't even begun to pull back yet. So if Ethereum is where all the money's going and that thing pulls back, these things are acting relatively weak like this. Where do you think these are going to go, right? These things are going to get hammered. So my point is, it's not worth the risk. I wouldn't touch these things right now with these candles. If you pull up your altcoin and it has a big vertical red candle like that, there's no reason to get into this right now. It may be at a good location, but the risk is very high. That momentum may continue. So you need some stability to develop. It can take a few days. So you want to see where this thing is by Wednesday or Thursday. The next support on this thing is around here in the middle of the range, okay, which is around 240, that area right there. That would be the next place to be looking for stability if it can develop there, right? Otherwise, if that's cleared, you're looking at the range low, which is around, what, the 190s? Around there, maybe mid-80s, 180s, something like that, in that area there. So you have to wait for that to see if the market delivers it. But right now, all you can do with this information is stay out of its way, because there's no telling how much lower this is going to go. And there's nothing here that says buy it right now based on the candle. Keep in mind, like I keep saying, location is like the first step after you identify the trend. The trend is pretty clear here. It's still bullish. Hasn't changed yet. The location comes second. Okay, we're at more attractive locations. So it's a starting point to start looking. But now we need price action to confirm, and there's nothing there. Okay, so very simple. Thanks for asking about ZEC. BNB, USDT. Let's take a look. So now Binance Coin, you know, look at this consolidation you have up here. So trend is still bullish, right? Nothing has changed there. It's finding support at an old resistance around that 613 area. But now here's the thing. So if the entire space, if this thing is going to cycle lower, okay, again, I'm referring to the whole space, you have an outside bar right here, okay, bearish outside bar. That's not a good sign if you're along, all right? Now, it hasn't closed yet, and it's trying to hold the support, but if the next candle takes out this outside bar low, 588, then this thing is probably going to break lower, all right? And you're looking at maybe 478, that 480 area as your next structural support, okay? Now, again, this move will probably follow Bitcoin. That's what I'm guessing here, since Bitcoin is the one that's looking ugly. And really, you know, out of the leaders, right? Ethereum, Bitcoin, and what's another leader? Is Litecoin a leader? Litecoin is usually a follower. I mean, and look at that, right? Giving back that big, spectacular breakout move, giving it right back. So I don't really consider Litecoin a leader. Bitcoin and Ethereum. Right now, Ethereum is the only leader because it's the only one doing its own thing and ignoring everyone else, right? But so the question is, when the leaders pull back, how does this behave? And like I said, if this bearish candle outside bar stays intact like that, you're looking at those lower supports. So if you're in it, this is a sign to reduce risk, take profits if you have some, or something, okay? Because again, or you want to hold it to see if it breaks that support, you could give it that chance. You know, I know people have this coin from all kinds of different prices, But if this thing really, really breaks, right, an extreme price would be like these highs back here, these old highs, which is what? What is that? That's around 350. I know it's hard to believe that these things can go that far back, you know, because we're so used to these things only going higher, and never pulling back. So they've implied like there's some kind of safety in these things. Like it's a no-brainer. They're just going to keep going up forever. But that's not natural to a market. At some point, they have to pull back, and they can pull back in unexpected ways, especially if some unexpected surprise catalyst comes out. No one saw that coming. And, you know, I'm going to give you a ridiculous example. But, you know, China comes out and says, we're going to make Bitcoin illegal, right? I mean, that's just, I'm over exaggerating. They probably would never do something like that. But imagine if the country of China just said, it's illegal to hold Bitcoin. Well, you know, you're going to see these things just get cut in half like in an instant. So that's what you have to be careful of, right? Some strange news could come out, and next thing you know, so how do you avoid something like that? Can a chart tell you something like that is coming? No. The only way to control for something like that is by managing your risk with sizing, using stops, not being over positioned or overexposed, things like that. You have to protect against the risk. These things are highly risky. So that's my rant on Binance Coin. Thank you for asking about that. But again, a lot of these signs are looking like, you know, they're going to pull back. And I would wait because, again, there's no stability here either at the moment. All right, let me jump over to the other chat. Thank you for asking about that. Let me see what else we got here. All right, PLTR. Let's take a look from DWJ. PLTR. Okay, PLTR. So now look at this thing, right? Now this is Palantir. You know, what's his name? That guy, Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel's company. And this right here is not good. All right. Many stocks have been in this situation. I get a lot of questions about stocks that are fooling around these type of supports. And like I kept saying, if the NASDAQ breaks, you're going to see this. Okay. That's why while many of them were showing attractive locations, you have to look at the NASDAQ and the risk on the NASDAQ. It wasn't like the NASDAQ was at a support. The NASDAQ kept fooling around resistances and the S&P kept pushing highs. Those are not supports. So when they turn and this thing is sitting at a support, like many stocks on the NASDAQ, they're going to break. And here we go. We have the break. So right now on something like Palantir, stay away from it because there's no buy signal. There's no support here at the moment. All right. It needs to stabilize. It needs to find a new level. Now, just historically, where is the next level? Right. It may find one sooner, but it's going to have to prove that. The next level that I could see based on this historical price action is around here. Okay, we have one around there, which is around 15, mid-15s. And then we have one around here, which is 10 or, yeah, just in the 10s. Okay, so those are the inflection points that we can see based on price history. Now, it doesn't mean price will go there. So again, a mistake that a lot of people make is they like to hear absolute predictions, right? And then you have these authorities out there who say, I'm going to predict where Bitcoin will be 6 months from now. Okay, great. But the thing is, you can't predict anything because things change. So all we can do is look at potential areas where it's likely that buyers can step in, and then price needs to prove itself if it gets there. Otherwise, we adjust, right? And we see if price can find support sooner. So that's what I'm waiting for on something like that. I would stay away. If your stock looks like this, step aside. I don't see a pin bar. I don't see a double bottom. I don't see a failed low. All I see is a vertical red candle. Okay, so let them pull back. All right, so thank you for asking about that. All right, so Trical CETH. So I went over ETH, right? I went over that in the beginning of the stream, so you could check that out. Now I wouldn't get dramatic, Lil. There's no reason to get dramatic on these things. People overreact. This is nothing. This movement on Bitcoin is really nothing. I mean, it's 3,000 points, negative 3,000 points. It's still inside of its range. Okay, a point for concern would be a break of the 50 to 48K support. That would be a point of concern if it cleared that level without any hesitation. It just cut right through it. But this is nothing. This is, you know, it might as well be a fake out, right? There's nothing going on here. There's no reason to short this. There's no reason to go long. It's just nothing. And you see how the altcoins are reacting, right? They're all overreacting to really a nothing move in Bitcoin. So, you know, we have to see how that goes. I'm still looking for longs. Like I said, if we can get to those levels and we can get the stability. I don't let anything get in my way as far as news, reasoning, people's philosophies, nonsense, whatever. Okay, price action. That's all I pay attention to. Okay, yeah, chasing, right? Now you can see, all right, so Ethereum Classic. All right, let's take a look. Now, Ethereum Classic is just, look, it's just a follower of Ethereum. This nonsense right here, this nonsense is just herd mentality. People pumping on YouTube, whatever, right? People saying, oh, well, if Ethereum is 4,000, Ethereum Classic should be at this, right? That's all that is. This coin has no value. It's not worth anything. It doesn't do anything, right? Ethereum is a better version of this, right? So I don't even know why Ethereum Classic still even exists. So this is a complete speculative play, and it's pulling back. So no surprise there. I would wait for support levels. You have a minor level at this 90 area right here, right? You have a minor level in that area. You can see it tried to bounce off of it, but it's too early to buy into something like this because there's no signal, all right? Like there's no inside bar. Yes, we can argue there's a long tail, but that's not a pin bar, right? This is more of like a doji. Pin bar usually has the open to the close on one side of the candle. This is sort of in the middle. So it doesn't count as a pin bar, right? It's not a bullish pin bar. There's no inside bar. There's nothing. There's no reason to buy this thing. So again, wait for stability. Also, in a situation like ETC, now, you know, how do you deal with this when Ethereum pushed 4,000, right? Whatever. Ethereum pushed those highs, and this thing is pulling back? That's strange, right? This thing should be pushing highs too. The charts should not look different from each other. So that's a red flag, all right? What happens when Ethereum pulls back? This thing is going to get hammered, right? That's what relative strength or relative weakness is saying. That's what it is implying about that relationship. So I would avoid this thing, right? Until it makes sense, at least in terms of the regular Ethereum, okay? So thanks for asking about that. Let me jump over to the other chat, and let me catch up over here. So, hey, Mel, good to see you. Todd, a bit, right, okay. So yeah, like I said, Todd, I'm not really moved by what's going on in Bitcoin there. There's really nothing going on. I can't buy it. I'm not gonna, we don't short it. So what can I do? Michelle, hey Michelle. Cool, nice to see you. All right, 53K, should I jump in? Okay, so I saw it, XX. I saw it before you removed it. I saw it. So his question was, should he buy it before? Well, look, day trading is a different story. But he says, sorry, I meant scalping for Dodgy, not investing. Okay, I didn't like it when I had the opportunity to buy it, and I don't like it now. But scalping may be worth it. So so scalping, you're talking more of like day trading in those things. Here's the thing. First of all, I'm looking at, if you notice, I don't look at anything smaller than a daily chart, right? Now, if you look at a 5-minute chart, this is going to look horrible on a 5-minute chart. And then you see actually this tail, right, on the daily chart is actually going to look like a spectacular bounce on a 5-minute chart or on a 1-minute chart. But those charts aren't going to help you for swing trades. They're only going to confuse you. I'm focused on swing trades, right? Day trades are a different story. I really can't speak to that, to answer those type of questions right now. Day trades, all I can tell you, are the hardest way to go about this game. And it's very easy to lose your money, okay? Especially if you're reactive and you're going by feel, right? You will not win in the long run. So just something to keep in mind there. What I could tell you about day trades is this. If you're going to work with a 1-minute chart or a 5-minute chart or whatever, you must do everything based on that time frame. So that means your stops or your risk is defined on that time frame, and your profit targets must also be defined on that time frame. So if you're risking 50 points, let's say, right? You should be looking to take money off the table once this thing's 50 to 100 points in your favor, which can happen in a minute or two the way this thing moves, right? But if you sit there and you think you're going to make 1,000 points because you bought the bottom on a 1-minute chart, you're asking for trouble and you're going to get stopped out, okay? Or you're going to get stuck in the trade and you're going to lose a lot more money than you were hoping. All right, so thanks for asking about that. All right, please have a look at the BTC USD. I just touched right. 53,500. Like I said, look, I'm going to pull up a 5-minute chart. Okay, let's take a look at a 5-minute chart. Now look at this. So this is what you're looking at, right? And you're like, oh yeah, look, it's bouncing. But this is meaningless, right? It looks exciting on a 5-minute chart. And this is why people are saying, oh, Bitcoin it's really pulling back. This is nothing, right? On a 5-minute chart, it looks great. But look, on a 1440, it's still this bearish red candle. I can't emphasize this enough. 5-minute charts carry no weight. So what carries all the weight is this big red bearish range, right? If we close in a few hours, if we close like this, I don't care how exciting your 5-minute chart looks. If we close like this, chances are the next candle is going to open and go lower, okay? And that's all I'm looking for. So if we can touch those 52s or 50s, that's the location where I become interested. All right, so I can't emphasize that enough. You have to know how to assign weight to these things. And 5-minute charts carry no weight for the swing trade time frame. All right, they're just noise. It doesn't mean you can't make money in that noise, but you need to really be on top of that and have a very well-defined plan. Okay, let me jump over to the other chat. All right, so let me see what I have. Okay, so I went over Ethereum Classic. Okay, any thoughts on the TLSA, the Tesla movement? Let's take a look. TSLA. All right, well, look, Tesla is obviously a NASDAQ stock, right? It's part of the S&P, right? Or whatever it is. But it's a tech stock. Is it surprising to see this? Where is this thing at 629? You would think it'd be lower. So like many of these stocks, right? Look, we have this big red candle. It took out these supports. Now, again, this is a great day trade stock. It took out these supports of the previous week, right? That's a nasty close right there. That's bearish. There was no attempt at recovery, and this thing closed 30 minutes ago. So with that type of break, I'd be anticipating bearish momentum to continue. The next support on this thing is right around here, which is what, 591? So you figure the whole number, 600 area, that's your next support. Will it find support there? Possibly, right? That's where I'd be looking for it. That's where probability favors that type of price action, or you're looking at this support here. So as the week unfolds, again, we're supposed to be forecasting price action for the week. Those are your levels, right, to keep an eye on. If it finds support sooner, okay, but it needs to prove itself. Again, if you're looking on this time frame, you can't go by a 5-minute chart, right? That daily chart, the next daily chart needs to give you a pin bar or something like that, right? Something bullish. So, and that takes an entire day to unfold. So that's all I'd be looking for. All we can do right now is spot the levels and see how price behaves around those levels. At the same time, we can't lose sight of the NASDAQ, right? If you're watching something like Tesla, you have to look at this, all right? And again, look how we closed. I'm anticipating bearish momentum into that 13,200 area. If we get it, Tesla should be weak, okay? If we get that type of price action, we have to see. Again, I don't know what kind of catalyst came out today that led to this, but I'm not surprised because I was looking for bearish price action, right? The catalyst just pushes it faster to where it was going to go anyway. People think it's the other way around, all right? They think that the news is what causes the... It's not. The news is just like something that moves the market faster to where it was most likely going to go. It's the order flow that's actually moving the price. Okay, so good question about that. All right, cool. All right, DWJ. Hey, thanks for joining. Thanks for joining me. Cryptoon. Okay, please take a look at Cardano, VET, and SHIB. SHIB. Okay, cool. Let's take a look. So Cardano. I get a lot of questions about Cardano. All right, let's take a look. Now, Cardano, this is a hype coin, all right? This is a very popular hype coin, as we know, and it had this breakout. And like I was telling people, if you took the breakout, okay, see how far this thing can go. As soon as you get the red candle, right, and this is it, you have the bearish outside bar. It's not exactly an outside bar, but it's trying. That's not what you want to see after you take a breakout. So at this point, you have a choice. I mean, because it hasn't broken anything significant yet. It hasn't taken out this old resistance, new support at $1.49, $1.50, right? This area here hasn't taken it out yet. So you still have a chance that maybe it'll hold and, try to at least go into a consolidation or something. Obviously, this depends a lot on where you own it from. You know, if you bought the breakout, you may be just a little better than break even right now. If you're in from a very low price, then obviously you're still green. You're just trying to manage the position. If you just bought this thing, you may be red, right? If you just bought it. So the thing is, if you just bought it, you should probably get out and not take the risk, okay? And take the small loss. A small loss is the best loss. If you're in from lower prices and you're trying to manage profit, well, at this point, you're getting a warning sign. So it would be a good idea, if you have not yet, to at least reduce risk, take something off the table if you have some green, and then see how this thing behaves over the week as the week unfolds. If it takes out this support, okay, this basically the 140 area, if it takes it out, that's not what you want to see. It should hold the support if it's going to stay strong. So that's the question that only ADA can answer. Will it hold the support? All right. So you have your chance right now to, like I said, reduce some of the risk and then see how it behaves from there. Keep something in mind. Everyone wants a home run in this game. Everyone thinks that that's how you play this game, but it's not. Home runs are like gambling. So what you want to do is manage risk. Taking risk off at areas where you should be taking risk off is the right thing to do, whether it's the top or not. Okay, we don't know if this is the top. It might be, it might not be. So if your risk is controlled near the high, okay, cool. If it pulls back, you'll have the opportunity to buy some more, you know, if it can hold that support. That's the way you have to look at it, especially when you're managing sort of like an inventory type of position. I don't like managing inventory on these too much, you know, and I don't like swing trading a lot of these altcoins either. It's like, you know, these are more of like lottery tickets. That's the way I look at them. Anyway, I hope you found that helpful as far as Cardano goes. VeChain, let's take a look. So now, again, I'm not surprised to see these red candles developing all over the place. All right. They've been saying, I saw some stuff about how Bitcoin is basically starting to have a high correlation to the stock market. And here we go, right? Stock market pulling back. Bitcoin is red, and all the alts are following. So large outside bar off of this resistance area. Why? Again, I don't like trying to buy into these potential failed high areas, right? This, you could see the tail. You see the tail on that candle, right? There's the tail. That was a few days ago. Now, so people get stuck in that and they go into hope mode. If you're in hope mode and you see this large red candle in play right now, this is your chance to reduce risk. Okay, not add risk, not buy more, not sit there and hope. Take something off the table. If you have green, take a small loss if you have to take a small loss. All right, or reduce your position. Do something, because if this thing breaks the support at 18.5 cents, if it breaks that, and you know, and the leaders are breaking too, like Bitcoin and Ethereum, they're breaking their supports, you can see much lower prices, and you can see them quickly. Right? Why would you want to be in that type of situation? 9 cents. Some people say, oh, I'd love to buy VeChain at 9 cents. Right, until it gets there. And then you're like, oh, whoa, I don't know. The market looks really ugly, right? So, because it's going to take a lot to get there. Oh, hey, Visionary, thank you. Sure, I'll take a look at those. Thank you so much. You don't have to send me those. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, so that's VeChain. Again, it's going to look similar. I'm probably going to repeat myself a lot on these. Let's take a look at SHIB, SHIB USD. What is that? Is that right? Shiba, SHIB. Is there only one candle? Is there any other? Okay, there we go. Some more candles at least on that, on Poloniex. Okay, so here's the thing. This right here, lottery ticket. There's nothing you can do. There's no price history I can go by except for this price action back here. Obviously, when you see these vertical moves, it's news driven. And this is an opportunity for those that had the coins very early, for whatever reason, to unload onto people who don't know what they're doing. I mean, that's what these moves are on these altcoins. So I wouldn't touch it. If you see this, don't touch it. If you're not in it, don't touch it. If you're in it, and you're one of those people that got it from a very low price, and you're wondering what to do with this thing now, well, there's no sell signal. You have a tail on this candle, but it doesn't really mean anything yet, okay? You let this thing run until it stops. Now, when you have very little price action to work with, one thing I like to do is I like to go to a 4-hour chart so I could see a little more detail. And this is where you can manually trail a stop. I talk about this all the time. I like to go 2 candles behind the high. So this is the high, right? Now we're a few candles after the high, but they don't count. I'm only looking at the high, and now I go 2 candles behind, right? So that puts your stop at around 0.00003, 4 O's, 1351, okay? That's what you're looking at. And if this thing can start pushing new highs, then these lows will start to become relevant, right? But that's really the way you should go, is by the high, start with the high, and then look 2 candles behind, okay? And at least that keeps you in the position. Now, if it pulls all the way back there and stops you out, well, you're going to give back a good portion. That's the thing with a trailing stop. You're not going to top tick this thing. You're not going to get the maximum price, okay? That's if you do, it's a gamble. So either you're putting limit orders in advance to take money off the table as the market reaches those areas, or you try a trailing stop and hope that the momentum continues. So at this point, there's nothing to do but let this thing do its job if you're in it. Like I said, if you're not in it, stay away from it, because you're just asking for trouble. These are hype coins, okay? When I see that vertical type move, there's no reason for it to be doing that unless there's some news that's driving everyone into it and all this and all that. So anyway, thanks for asking. All right, let me jump over to the chat. All right, I'm going to wrap this up soon. I'm going to go for a few more minutes. Let's see, how am I doing with time? Hold on a second here. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna cut it a little short today. Usually I'm in like an hour and a half, but I'm gonna go a little bit longer. So, and I appreciate everyone spending their time with me here. So let me see what else I got. Paul, how about Litecoin? Still somewhere between Bitcoin? Okay, so Litecoin is a good question. Now, so again, as far as forecasting for the week, again, and I hope that's what you're getting out of this, right? I'm not forecasting for the moment. I want you to pay attention to these levels. I hope you're noting these levels for the week, right? For the next few days, because that's the whole point of why I do these streams, is to kind of give you an idea of what's within reason. Okay, so Litecoin. Yeah, Litecoin is still, like I was saying earlier, it's a Bitcoin follower. It's not a leader, right? Now Bitcoin's pulling back, and we see this candle in Litecoin. It's giving back that breakout. That's usually what a failed breakout looks like. So here we go. Your next support on something like this is around 327. So you figure around the 330 area. So if you're going to get involved in Litecoin, it would be nice if it can give you that price somewhere around there, followed by some kind of confirmation or reversal. Otherwise, you're looking at the middle of the range, okay, which is around 265, 250 area, or the range low, which is around 235. Now, it's hard to believe that Litecoin can pull back that far. And with this bullish structure, Litecoin is still strong. So it is hard to believe. But if Bitcoin breaks 50K, and you see Bitcoin pushing 45K, which is possible. Remember, we have to keep an open mind. All right, you don't want to get stuck in any type of opinion, and you don't want to think in absolutes. If Bitcoin starts pushing such a level, Litecoin, I wouldn't be surprised to see Litecoin pushing similar levels. All right, so something to keep an eye on with Litecoin. If you're in Litecoin, hopefully you've locked in some profits. There's been plenty of profit opportunity here. Hopefully you locked enough in. At this point, if you want to give it a chance, if you're in that situation, okay, you have the luxury of being a strong hand. But if you just bought this thing, get out, I would say. Get out, take the money or take the loss. This is not to be misconstrued as investment or trading advice, but I'm talking about mitigating risk here, okay? These things are positioning themselves to pull back significantly if the leaders pull back, all right? And again, the party that we've been seeing is not something that goes on forever. And at some point, that bearish cycle will come along and take these things a lot lower than people would like, all right? So just something to keep in mind. All right, so thanks for asking about Litecoin. Michelle, entry points for Link. All right, so Cardano I went over. As far as entry points go, and if you're talking about if you're talking about like swing trades, again, wait for the range high. Okay, the old range high, $1.43, $1.40 area, or the middle of the range, right? Those would be attractive places for swing trades. As far as the other one she asked was Link. So I know Link has been one of these ridiculous hype coins too. I call it a ridiculous hype coin. What is this nonsense, right? What is it? It's just following Ethereum. Anyway, so you got the bearish outside bar right now. So what I would wait for on something like this, did that bar touch? Yeah, look at that. it touched the old resistance 3850 area and it bounced off of it. Okay, so again, still too early to do anything with that because of the nature of this candle. This is a nasty candle that took out this little minor support here, and we're going to close like that. That could be more bearish momentum on the way. So I would hold off on anything. The level for Link, that would be one level, by the way, if it could show stability there. One little tail is not stability. That's the, what is that, low? That's the 40, yeah, so I'd say 45 area, okay? That's one area to watch. And again, like ADA, you're looking for the middle of the range. I like the middle of the range after a breakout and a revisit to the middle. Not a failed breakout and revisit. I like after a breakout because usually you could find a support in that situation. 37 area, 38 area, that would be another potential area if price action can agree with you there. And then you have the range low, okay, which is around 33 to 30, that area there. Those are your levels. If during this week Link breaks all of those levels, right? I mean, then you're looking at something like 23, which again is hard to believe it can do all that in a week, but you have to keep an open mind. Those are the levels. We'll see what the market can deliver this week. Can it find support sooner? Yeah, but it'll have to prove that. Okay, there's nothing in the market, there's nothing on the chart that says it wants to do that right now. Okay, so thank you for asking about that. Oh, okay, cool, no problem, XX. Mel, okay, DOT, okay, sure, let's take a look at DOT. DOT, USDT. So DOT, DOT has been underperforming, relatively speaking. I mean, what, DOT is supposed to be the competitor for Ethereum? But speaking of competitor, hold on a second. Let me just take a look at NEO real quick, right? NEO, another ridiculous coin that went to ridiculous levels, right? And I'm a little, you can see I'm a little, I don't know what the word is. I'm not angry, but I'm a little like, come on with these, come on with some of these coins, like really. All right, so let's take a look at, let's go back to DOT. Like, I just think some of them, they've been overdone, and it's like enough with the overdoing, and let's get to some realistic levels. So DOT, right, here we go. You got this lower high that's established, and now you have the nasty red candle, which again, we're seeing this nasty red candle across the board. All right, so no problem. This is no location, there's no attractive location here, okay? Like we saw in Link and like we saw in some of those coins, because this price action here is, this price action going back here is iffy. There's really nothing substantive there. So you're looking at the range low. All right, on something like this, can I get a line? Can I draw a line there on DOT? Range low, which is around $29.75, around $30. That really should be your first point of interest, if it can get there. All right, again, don't forget about Bitcoin and Ethereum being your guide, right? If they break, then I would expect these supports to break, just like with the stocks, right? We saw a lot of those stocks testing their supports while the NASDAQ was at its highs or whatever, S&P was at its highs. They're pulling back, and now all these stocks are breaking their supports. There's no surprise there. Watch for that same type of relationship here, all right? So let's see if it can either deliver that price during the week or break. If it can find stability, you may have a swing trade opportunity. And I will be looking at these coins. I will be looking at these altcoins to see if there are any potential swing trade opportunities, that develop in the face of a similar situation in Bitcoin, or Ethereum. All right, like I said before, I'm still looking for Bitcoin longs. Okay, let me jump over to the chat. Again, thank you. I appreciate everyone's questions. So do you usually use 24-hour when evaluating trades? All right, so it's a good question. Trickle, it's a good question. It's just a personal preference. I use the 1440, which is 24 hours, 1440 minutes. You can use either one. You can use the daily, chart category, or you could use 1440. There's no difference. It's the same chart. So it's just I guess a habit that I got into. So thanks for asking. That's a good question. Very you're very detail oriented. All right, ETH. So I went over ETH. I should say very observant. That's the word I was looking for. ETH. I went over that earlier in the stream, so you could just go. Oh, on TradingView, you can't rewind. So when I finish the stream, you can go back to the beginning portion of the stream and you can see what I said about Ethereum. Okay. Hey, Visionary. Hey, good to see you. All right. So, hi from, oh yeah, I forgot. If anyone wants to put what country they're from, I always like to see that. It always impresses me when I see some countries that you usually don't see very often. I just always find it's just so amazing to me how the reach that TradingView has, really. So if you want to put your country, it's just something fun to talk about. Okay, anyway. So, hi from Tenerife. I don't even, I'm sorry, I don't even know where that is. Looking at dot, okay, so here's the thing. Dot ETH. Now you're looking at dot against Ethereum. I don't like these cross pairs. Okay, I don't like these cross pairs. Is this polka dot? What is new dot? Is that something? All right, it's the same chart. All right, so here's the thing. I don't like these cross pairs because you have two unstable pairs on top of each other, right? That's why I like against the dollar. So in this situation, or at least a stable coin, in this situation, if you're in dot against Ethereum, what do you do here? You get out. If you're in from a much higher price, this is really bearish momentum here. Now, could you be banging out at the bottom? It's possible, but the thing is these are very erratic, all right? So what you could use to judge, you can't really use this chart to judge because, again, if DOT and Ethereum are moving in the same direction, but Ethereum is moving faster, this pair is going to go lower, right? Even if they're both going higher. So look at DOT against the dollar, something stable, and that's your DOT situation. So, to answer your same question, would you buy, sell, or hold? For one, I wouldn't. I guess the answer would be hold. I wouldn't do anything here, right? I wouldn't sell this. You're in the middle of the range. I wouldn't buy this. You're in the middle of the range. We don't have any attractive support levels. I don't short these coins. So the only choice is really I have a hold or buy. So I would say hold. I wouldn't do anything. Nothing to do here. Okay, especially in the middle of the range. So thanks for asking about that. Okay, thoughts about Cardano, BAT, and XLM. And also, should I sell all Dodgy that I have? All right, so let me answer that question. Again, don't misconstrue what I'm saying here as advice, but something like Dodgy, I don't know where you're in from. That's really a personal situation, so I really can't answer that for you. It's all about the risk. You have to assess the risk that you're taking here. Like I said earlier about Dodgy Coin, you're in the middle of this range. You're trying to test this old resistance, which may be a new support. If you're in from these really high prices up here, if you're in from this area, you're in from a bad price. It's probably wiser to reduce risk. Okay, I'll put it that way, meaning maybe you unload some of the position to take some loss, but you don't get out of the whole thing in case it finds support. But at this point, if you're in from up at here, you're at the mercy of the market. Okay, so you have to decide how much risk you're willing to take. This thing it's possible, but the chart, there's no way the chart can tell us. It's possible that this thing can go all the way back to 20 cents. It's possible. Are you willing to hold it that far back? Is that going to cause a serious, losing position for you? Only you can answer those questions. Okay, so I really can't tell you what to do with this. It really depends on where you're long from. If you're long from a great price and you're just basically watching profits melt, you're giving back profits, well, you should have locked in something along the way, first of all. If you haven't locked in something along the way, well, now would be a good time to lock in some profit. Okay, and then hold on to some to see if it finds stability. But you have to be willing to take the chance that this thing goes all the way back to 20 cents or even lower. Because remember, this is a garbage coin. Okay, this is not even a coin of real value. So it's highly speculative. That's all I could tell you about something like that. Okay, only you can decide how much risk you're willing to take. But for me, I wouldn't be in the thing at all. We had a swing trade in this thing that was sent out, and some people got into that, great. But I personally did not get involved in that. Okay, so thanks for asking about that. Now, ADA, I went over that earlier. You can go back once I complete the stream here. BAT and XLM. So let me go over BAT, Basic Attention Token. BAT. So again, not surprising. We're seeing the bearish candle across the board. BAT failed to make a new high. Okay, it failed. This is a lower high. Now, it doesn't mean it's in a bearish trend, most likely in a consolidation, right? This could be the broad wave 4 consolidation, the beginning of it, which Bitcoin may be going into, right? If Bitcoin is going into that wave 4, let me give you an idea of what I'm talking about, right? If you're not familiar with Elliott wave, don't worry about it. let me just show you what a wave 4 looks like. A big, broad wave 4. This is gold, okay? Now, I'm showing you gold from the August peak, right? The highest point on this chart is the August peak over here, okay? And the lowest point is the March low. All that price action in between, that's a wave 4 consolidation. As you can see, it's very erratic. It's very difficult to trade through that. There's a lot of false starts. There's a lot of false breakouts. That's characteristic of a wave 4. That's what I've been anticipating that Bitcoin will go into. And this went on for more than 6 months. 6 months, okay? So just something to keep in mind there. Be prepared for something like this. Be prepared. If Bitcoin goes into this, the altcoins are going to be out of favor for a while. There's going to be a lot of false starts. They're going to rob a lot of people of a lot of money who are too impatient. So I would definitely exercise that patience muscle. You're going to need it. All right. So that was BAT. So BAT, BAT and many other coins are starting to show similar, a similar starting point of that type of scenario. So I wouldn't touch BAT at these levels. Again, if you're interested in BAT, look for the range low. If you're in it from maybe a slightly lower level, reduce risk at least. If anything, reduce risk. If you want to give the rest of your position a chance, fine. You can always buy it back if it goes lower. And if it breaks out higher, you buy some back anyway, right? Because you're in a winning position to begin with if you have some. If you don't have any, stay away from these things. Let the leaders stabilize, okay? Or wait for better prices, more attractive prices. Look, something like BAT, keep something in mind. Again, there's nothing safe about these. It's a utility token, right? They use it to pay people with their, the browser, right? The Brave browser or whatever. It's a utility token. These things aren't really supposed to appreciate that much in value to begin with. They're supposed to be more stable. So, there's not like a limited supply of them, or there's a huge supply of them. It's not like Bitcoin and all that other stuff. So anyway, I don't want to get too much into the fundamentals, but just something to keep in mind with utility tokens. Now Xlm Stellar Lumens. Now this one, look at this one. Now this Stellar Lumens has been very strange because it seems to be doing its own thing. It's still green on the day. It doesn't have, now this is a nasty pin bar. Notice I covered the pin, right? The wick, the long tail on this candle. While the candle is still green, and this is an attempted breakout. The reason why I want to point this out is because this is developing into a failed high, right? So at one point, this candle was fully green, gave it all back. If you bought that breakout and you're seeing this candle, get out, take the loss if you have to take a loss. This is a very high risk candle to sit there and hope that it's going to go higher. Usually when you get the long tail on something like that, those are people selling, okay? The sell signal comes when you break the low of the candle, which will be tomorrow, right? This is 61 cents, right around there. If it takes out that low tomorrow, you then have a sell signal. Now, at this point, that sell signal doesn't exist. So if you want to try to give it that chance, okay, you're fighting a lot of bearish momentum, right? You have Bitcoin pulling back and all that other stuff. This thing is starting to feel the pain. Do you want to take that chance? That's up to you. If this thing breaks and you see the support, this little minor area get taken out, right? Again, you're looking at the middle of the range at around 48 cents. No, I'm sorry. Around 50 cents, around there, 53 cents, and then you're looking at the range low. Many coins are in this similar situation. We may be going into that broad consolidation, right? Which means price will be spending a lot of time fooling around inside of that range, okay? Which means there will be better opportunities to buy if this market doesn't completely break, all right? So if we hold these supports, there'll be plenty of swing trade opportunities. There's no reason to feel like you're missing anything out. You should never feel like you're missing out. There's always more opportunities, all right? So anyway, but at this point, the risk is very high. That's all I could say about Stellar Lumens, okay? Yes, it's nice to see that it tried to break out, but when the leaders are starting to fail, you don't want to be buying something at its highs, okay? XLM is definitely not a leader. So thanks for asking. Look, these coins, by the way, any little piece of news can come out. Some maybe they they had a network update or something dumb like that, and everyone just buys into it because they have their little community that they're pushing their hype to, and then you see the coin get a little surge. You know, you're just buying into hype. So just keep that in mind with these altcoins. These are not high quality stocks that are being bought for, you know, good reasons. Okay, so that's XLM. Oh, Iran, nice. Most of the time your voice is low. Okay, I don't get that from anyone else. So it might be your internet connection. It's very possible. I also look at my voice level and it's coming in pretty high here. I see it's going out pretty high. So it might be your internet connection. I'm not sure, but I haven't seen anyone else complain about a low voice. So I apologize for that. Thanks for listening though. Okay, Ray, I sent you a message on here. I don't know if you saw it. Okay, you know what? I get lots of messages and I probably haven't seen it. If you just sent it, I haven't seen it yet. Or if you sent it in the recent day or so, you know, I have to catch. Look, I mean, I have a bunch of messages. I haven't read them yet. I have to catch up. So I apologize for that. I have a lot going on. Okay, Visionary. I'm just getting to your coin thing now. All right, can you look at MAG and NUGT? Okay, I have to do it. And the guy sent me 100 coins. I have to look at these. Okay, MAG, USDT. All right, is MAG a stock? Let's see. MAG Silver. Oh, is MAG Silver? Is that a silver stock? Let me take a look at something real quick. AG. How did AG do today? AG pulled back. Wow. Oh, it's probably okay. Gold is here. WPM. Okay, so this is an interesting thing. Thanks for suggesting MAG Silver. So these are stocks, right? And as you can see, the stock market's getting hammered, so they're going to feel some pain. Okay, even though gold is strong. So these are just pulling back on general stock market weakness. All right, fine. If it's gold or silver related, I'm not worried about any pullbacks. Okay, so this red candle, it's near a high and all that. So if you're in this, I would not worry about this right now. I would, if I'm going to get worried about this, it would have to break a support at like around 1720. Just so you know, I've been calling First Majestic Silver, and look, it's had a similar type of price action there. It was red candle today, and the level on that thing is around $15, right? I'm in this one. If it breaks 15, I'll be somewhat concerned, but gold would have to be getting hammered, right? In that situation, gold is going higher. There's fundamental reasons for gold to be going higher. There are seasonal reasons for gold to be going higher. So any red candles that show up in any silver stocks or gold stocks, I'm going to consider them noise, okay? So like this situation with MAG, I wouldn't worry about it. There's nothing to do here. There's no reason to buy. There's no reason to sell. Your resistance is up here around $22 or $23. And if you're looking for a buying opportunity, perhaps you get some around here, around this old resistance, minor resistance around 1850. So that may give you a new buying opportunity over the following week if you're interested in something that's related to silver. Again, I'm very bullish on gold and silver. I have been since February. Okay, so thanks for asking about that. That's MAG and NUGT. Okay, and he puts it in there, both stocks. See, I can't read today, Visionary. I'm sorry. Okay, NUGT. Is it a gold? Okay, another gold stock. A gold mining, looks like. Oh, okay, so it's like a gold mining ETF. Now look at this. So yeah, it's pulling back a bit here. Okay, no problem. Has that breakout in place. See the breakout? Okay, that's nice. That breakout off of a higher low. I like that. That's good. But again, it's gold. All right, we're talking about gold miners here. Look at this. Look at this change. I want to point something out, and I'm glad you brought this stock up because for the longest time, right, we were dealing with this. I've been calling gold and silver long, as many know, since February, like I've been saying, right? I have Wheaton Precious Metals, one of the stocks that I've carry inventory on, and I was buying all that inventory while this thing was doing this, looking horrible. But I knew that gold could only go lower to a point. Now, I protected myself. I didn't overload, even though I was bullish on gold, and gold was pushing to 1675. I was willing to take a chance, but my position size was controlled. If gold kept going lower and lower and lower, which again, anything is possible, then I wasn't going to keep putting on more and more and more. My risk was controlled by my size, right? That's inventory. So look at the change since that low, right? That most likely coincides with the 1675 low on gold. Look at this, right? We have a higher low over here, and we have a higher low here at basically $60, and followed by the higher high today, and now it's pulled back a bit, right, because of the stock market weakness. I wouldn't worry about this. If you're in it, just let it do its job. The point of concern would be if this thing breaks the low 60s, right? It should not take out this low if it's going to stay strong. Okay, I'm anticipating that gold is going to start pushing into the higher 1800s, maybe even into the 1900s over the next few months. And these stocks should benefit from that. Even if the stock market is going lower, these stocks should not be breaking their supports, right? Because they're going to have the support of gold and silver behind them. Okay, so that's all I could say about them right now. The structures look good. I'm not going to worry about one red candle, but you have to be in these. Now is not the time to be getting into them. All right, like I said, we've been in these for months. So now the risk is too high. If you want to get in, let them pull back more. So thanks for asking about those two. And again, thank you for the coins. Aeon coin. Okay, so let me see what time it is. I'm going to have to wrap this up here momentarily. Okay, I'm going way over. All right, I'm going to do just a few more minutes. I'm going to do Aeon coin. Hello from Holland. Hey, nice to see you from Holland. Okay, so I'm going to do Aeon coin, and then I'm going to do one more from over here. My country is Chicago. Nice. All right. Todd's from Romania. Hey, no problem. Are you of Italian background? Well, all Romanians are. Oh, I didn't know that. Well, my name might be a hint that I am of Italian background, but I'm from northern New Jersey, so, I mean, you know, I'm not really Italian, just by name. But anyway, okay, so I'm going to go over Aeon coin, and let me see what else I have here. Reggie. Okay, Reggie, that renewable energy, that's a good one. All right, so I'm going to do this one. I'm going to do those two, and I'm going to wrap it up. Okay, so thank you again for all your questions. Aeon coin, let's take a look. All right, so interesting. Now look at this price action here, right? Look at the long tails. That's why I always tell people, don't buy into those. And if you buy into one and it turns red right away, get out, because this is what you're dealing with. This is the risk you're facing. I look at these only from risk first. Risk, not reward. Reward comes as, you know, as a byproduct of good risk management. Focus on risk. So red right now, right after those long tails, there's nothing here to do, right? Your support is at 38 cents, right around that 38-cent area. That's your first support. Your second support, I mean, maybe it'll test these levels this week. Your second support is around 30 cents. Then you have another support right here at 21 cents, basically. Those are your supports. The question is, can this thing find stability along with the market? Obviously, all these coins, as you can see, not too many of them are leading. I mean, Xlm was doing its own thing, right? But the rest of these seem to be following. They're doing what Bitcoin is doing, which proves one thing. They're followers. They're not leaders. I think Litecoin was still a little greener, but Litecoin was pulling back too. They're all followers, all right? So this is a follower too. Expect it to follow until it does something different. Now, those are your levels, all right? If Bitcoin starts testing 50K, I'd be watching for one of these levels. And of course, Bitcoin should stabilize, and then that's when these levels will become attractive at that point. When Bitcoin is stabilizing, the level alone is not enough. So those are the levels I'd be watching for this week. Right now, there's nothing to do. If you're in it, either you're taking a loss or you're locking in some profit because you have a much lower price, okay? But you should definitely make some kind of adjustment here as far as reducing risk. So thanks for asking about Aeon. Okay, so let me get back into the chat here. All right, so I'm not going to be able to answer all these other questions. Okay, so like TLM, again, I appreciate everyone's questions. I apologize. I'm going to have to wrap this up, but I said I was going to do Reggie, so let me do Reggie. Renewable Energy Group. All right, this was, I used to look at this one along with Sunrun back when these things were hot, right? These things have been garbage for a while. So renewable energy, now look at this. Good example of a stock that's been out of favor, right? What does this remind me of? Reminds me of the pot sector, right? That's CGC, looks similar, right? This is the best pot stock that, out of all the pot stocks, this is the best pot stock in terms of fundamentals. I mean, look at this, it's hated. Everyone hates pot stocks. They like smoking it, but they hate buying it, the stock anyway. So anyway, let's go back to renewable energy. That was my funny portion of the stream. All right, so here we go, right? You pull them back here, nothing to do. Great location, I like the location. Look at these supports, right? You're fooling around a support level, 57.28. Now again, keep in mind, you're dealing with a weak stock market. So like I said, a lot of these stocks are at supports. Stock market is now starting to pull back, right? A normal, healthy pullback. And the stock market has not found any supports yet, any real supports, which means these things are likely to break and go lower. So I would hold off on these, right? This candle alone, even today's candle, there's nothing supportive about that candle. It's a large red candle. And yeah, you have a location, but this thing may start testing much lower prices, like $50, maybe into those 40s. I would wait for that. Again, use the stock market as your gauge. Like in this case, now this one, renewable energy is not exactly the same as the energy sector. It's obviously not oil driven, but I mean, look at the S&P, right? The S&P closed minus 51 points today. That's a lot for the S&P, right? That's a lot for one day. And it hasn't even begun to pull back yet. 4120 is the first support. So again, how does that relate to renewable energy? Well, when the S&P gets to 4120, what is this thing going to be at, right? Is it going to be in the mid 40s? That's what you have to watch for. Now, these energy stocks, these renewable energy stocks, are not highly correlated. That is what you have that's somewhat in your favor, but it takes news to really get these things going. Like back here. I mean, look at this bullish trend, right? Going back into March here, and then it peaked, and then the party was over. So keep these on your radar, right? Because these are they were good stocks at one point, and they have some potential, right? Like Plug Power, and all these. Look, same deal, right? Xlm, right? Look at these. This is why I've been warning people: don't buy them yet. Don't buy them yet. Here's a support on Xlm, right? Not too long ago, about a month ago, around $12. I said, don't buy them yet. Don't buy them yet. Nasdaq is not looking so hot. And here we are, making lower lows. So this is not a bearish trend exactly. It's still correcting that broad bullish trend. So keep them on your radar, right? That's what I'd say about these. Keep them on your radar for now. Nothing to do here. But at least you're not buying the high, right? Or at least you're not getting excited at a high. You're getting excited when people are getting scared. That's when you want to be interested in these things, okay? And the stock market should at least be somewhat aligned. All right, so I'm going to leave you with that. Again, I apologize for starting, at 3:30 or almost 4 o'clock today. I usually start much earlier. Cardano, I answered that earlier. So if you just go back and once I complete the stream, you can just go back earlier in the stream, Kadar, and you can see what I said about Cardano. I answered that a couple of times. So again, thank you for asking. So I'm going to wrap this up. I want to thank you all for your great questions. Thank you for telling me where you're from. Again, I'm broadcasting from the New York City area, northern New Jersey, in case you couldn't tell from my accent. And it's always interesting to me to see all the different parts of the world that Trading View reaches. It's very interesting. Okay, cool. So thanks for sharing all that. Thank you all for spending your time with me here today and for all your great questions. I stream on TradingView at least once a week on Mondays, usually at 3 o'clock, and then you can also catch me at other streams during the week in other places. So again, thank you very much for all your great questions. Other than that, enjoy the rest of your day or the rest of your evening, wherever you are in the world, and thank you so much for watching.